Okay, welcome to the webinar, Leads and Deals Automation. So who are we? I'm Damien Edwards, Business Development Manager of Intraface, and with me I have Andy Naylor, our Projects Manager.
Hi guys, if you've got any questions throughout the webinar, just put them in the box provided and we'll have a Q&A session at the end of each section.
So we're partners of Bitrix24. We're located in Sheffield in the UK and New York. We manage all pre-sale support, so we can provide a demo and we can answer your questions to help you make the right choice on the product you choose. We have a full implementation service including customization and training. If you choose one of the self-hosted solutions, we can provide a hosting solution for you, and we provide an ongoing support service. So what is Bitrix24? A suite of in excess of 35 tools for managing your business. Over 1 million businesses using Bitrix24 currently. Available as a cloud product on a monthly subscription and a self-hosted product. Prices on cloud actually starting from free or $24 per month, and a self-hosted solution essentially a one-off fee of just under $5,000. So why Bitrix24 for your CRM? Bitrix24 includes all the tools you need to process and qualify leads and opportunities quickly. You can communicate on multiple channels from your Bitrix24 platform, including Facebook, Instagram, Skype. Allows you to build a full 360-degree picture of your customers' activities, so everyone in your organization knows full information about that business. You can monitor teams through dashboards and reporting, and also very good tools for forecasting sales. Okay, so let's firstly look at the new automation tools within Leads and Deals. We'll provide you with an explanation for each of the tools available. There's quite a few of these. We're going to go through them each of them one by one. So if you bear with us, we'll get to the live demo of the process shortly. I'll pass you on to Andy.
Okay, so if we're now in Bitrix, and if we go to the CRM, and then if we go to the More and Settings, and then if we go to the automation, so this webinar is going to just focus on the new automation tools within Bitrix. So that includes this lead section here and this deal section here as well. So we'll click into the leads and take a look at how we set these up and what each point of the process is. So you'll see some colored bars across the top. So these are lead statuses. So we've got 5 here. It's from new to junk lead. So first of all, we'll have a look at where we can do that, where we can set these. So if we go into settings, and then if we look at the statuses and drop downs here. So to set your lead statuses, you can see on the left hand side that we're on the statuses tab. So these are our lead statuses on Bitrix. So to add a new one, it's just as simple as clicking on add status, and you can add as many as you like there as well. And you can see here that the statuses also help create your sales funnel there as well. So also in this section we can create our deal stages, which we're going to look at a little bit later on as well. So if we click on general deal stages, you can see it's exactly the same process as setting your lead statuses, just going to be clicking on the add stage, and again you can add as many as you like on there. There are a couple of additional features on the deal stages. We can set different deal stages on different pipelines. So in this case we've got sales A team and sales B team, so we can have completely different stages on each one of those pipelines. So this is where you would generally set up your lead statuses and your deal stages. So if we go back to the automation tools, click on automation and then into leads. So now that we know where to set these statuses up, we're going to look at the different triggers that we can trigger our new automation rules on here. So if we click on configure the workflow, and then if we click on add, you can see that in a lead that we have 4 different types of triggers. So a trigger is an action that can start the automation rules below for that particular status. So in this case, we'll look at, first of all, an incoming email. So when an email is received to any user who has their email configured on the system, and the sender's email address is matched with that one in the particular lead, then it will create the trigger. So we mentioned about configuring emails on the system. So every user can create and configure their own email inbox. So you can just click on your profile in the top right hand corner here, click on email integration options, and then you can basically attach your email box like we have here. And just to make sure, one of the main important parts of this is that we enable the CRM integration, so that will help with the trigger.
Okay, so this would allow you to integrate, this would allow you to create your own email account within the system. So I think it's worth mentioning that if you want to add something like a sales at email or an info at email, I think probably the best thing to do for that would be to create a separate user for that sales account. I think new inquiries, new leads are possibly going to be triggered from those kind of generic email addresses. So I think the best thing to do is create a new user for that.
Yeah, certainly. So if we go back to the automation rules and triggers, so if we scroll down here and we click on configure, so that's how we would configure our incoming email. If we click on incoming call, if you've got the telephony module installed on Bitrix, then if a telephone number calls and is associated with this particular lead, then it can trigger this particular set of automation rules below. We are going to look at how we can do this a little bit later on in the demonstration. So so you can learn a little bit more of how it's configured. Third, we can create a trigger using a CRM form. So if a CRM form is submitted that includes an email address or phone number associated with the lead, then this can help trigger to move on to this status and trigger this set of action automation rules on there. And finally, we'll have a look at on the leads. The final trigger is a webhook. So if you've created an incoming webhook which contains maybe an email or a phone number again associated with the lead, then this will help trigger the status automation rules. So we're going to look at how we can set up those incoming inbound webhooks a little bit later on.
Okay, thanks. Let's have a look at, then those are triggers. Let's have a look at automation rules. So there's a number of automation rules and we're going to look at each of them. It's important to note that each automation rule can run at different intervals. The options we have available are immediately. So actions are performed immediately after the CRM record has changed its status. After previous, so this parameter helps you build a chain of actions and it's used when a rule should not be activated before the previous rule is applied. Also, we can set time. So this allows us to set a delay interval between the rule being applied and between the trigger and the rule being applied, and we can set that to minutes, hours, and days. So what actions do we have? Quite a few here. We have active message to general activity stream. We can change the responsible person. We can update the status of a lead or a deal. We can use this tool, which is quite useful, a control rule. This helps you control a lead or deal's progress. You can set a rule that rule on a record that the record will stay on this stage for a period of time and send out a notification when that period of time has expired. So this helps you keep track of your team's activities and can help prevent your team from falling behind.
Yeah, I think the good use of this control block is, like it says on the screen here, you can say the recipient is the supervisor. So it's really good. So if you were waiting for a particular status, if it was going on too long and it was stuck in your pipeline, then it can send a notification to the supervisor to basically just push along the sales progress from your sales team, so things don't get basically stuck in the pipeline for too long.
Sure. Okay. Delete CRM record. Facebook and Google AdWords, we're going to look at that in a separate webinar. They're coming soon. We can trigger a notification to a predefined user. Of course, we can schedule a call and a meeting, send a message. This is actually an email, and so we can trigger an external email to an email that's associated with a deal or a lead. And again, VK and Yandex advertisements we'll look at a later stage. Finally, we can trigger, or we can use a webhook to trigger an action, and you'll show us a little bit more about webhooks.
Yeah, so we have webhooks on the triggers, and we also have webhooks on the automation rule side. So like I mentioned earlier, we are going to touch upon this in a little bit more detail, but in terms of how we set up our webhooks, we go to the applications on the left-hand side. And then on the top menu here, we have a webhooks link. And what we can do is, if we click on Add Webhook, we can create an inbound webhook, which is generally going to be used for your triggers. So when something comes into your system, then we will use that as a lead or a deal automation trigger. And then we'll create, alternatively, you can create an outbound webhook. So that's usually used in the automation rules section. And that can integrate, one of the biggest things to use with the outbound webhooks is to integrate with maybe an external source, such as an accounts package, or or there's quite a lot of other applications that you can connect to.
Okay, so those are the tools available. Do we have any questions on this section? Okay. We've got a question about whether this is on standard or professional only. So these tools are available on different packages. So not all the tools are available on the standard or professional. In fact, we're going to look at some tools right at the end that are actually available on the self-hosted. But generally, I think most of what we're looking at today is available on standard. Probably not all available on the free.
Yeah, I think in terms of, I think the standard plus is going to be leads. I think the professional is leads and deals, and I think the self-hosted, we've got quite a lot of scope to use the API with, which we are going to look at a little bit later on.
Okay. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so that's how those are the tools that are available. Let's have a look at different methods we can use to capture leads. There's generally four main areas. We can use integration with social media. We can use web forms, telephony, and we can use also webhooks to open up a whole new area, a whole new range of options to capture leads. I'll pass you on to Andy. Andy's going to show you how to set up Facebook firstly.
Yeah, so first of all, what we're going to do is going to show you how we're going to set up these lead capture methods, and then we're going to show you a quick demonstration of how those come into Bitrix. So the first one we're going to look at is we're going to look at Facebook. So if you click on Open Channels in the left-hand side, and then you'll see a link at the top called Facebook. So the first thing that we would do, we've already got our page configured, but you would need to connect your Facebook page to Bitrix. So to do that, you will be asked to connect your page. It's quite important to note that you have to be a Facebook page administrator to be able to select your page within Bitrix. So if you're not an administrator of your Facebook page, you won't be able to connect to Facebook. So what I'm going to do is look to show you how we configured our Facebook to work. So there are quite a few different parameters that we can set. The first one that we look at is that once if a message comes in from Facebook and they're not on our CRM already, then it's going to automatically create a new lead. And when the message comes in, it's going to pop up via our Bitrix Instant Messenger, so we can have a two-way conversation ourselves in Bitrix and the customer on Facebook, and we can actually queue if we've got multiple people or employees are off, for example, so we can actually add multiple people to queue up to answer these Facebook messages. And as we scroll down, we can set a few different parameters here. So if a message goes unanswered, we can automatically send a message out, and we can also set our greeting messages to the user as well.
So the key here is to get the right settings so that messages are replied to quickly, and if people are available, then we've got these automated responses. Okay, let's go on to Facebook. We've gone to our Facebook page here. Let's send a message.
Yeah, so this is our Facebook page for interface. So this is if somebody comes to your Facebook page, sends you a message, and this is the demo that we're going to show you at the moment.
Okay, you can see it's really quick. Facebook lead has come in here. This will click us through into the Facebook lead. Let's just go into the message itself, and we can see again we've got a lead, and we can send our reply and continue to have a conversation with the customer like this. Okay, let's have a look at a web form.
Okay, so for web forms, what we need to do is Bitrix has a web form creator that you can use within the CRM. So if we go to the CRM section of Bitrix, click on more, and then you can see that you'll have an option to click on CRM web forms. And to add a new web form, it's as simple as clicking add new form in the top right hand corner here. We're actually going to look at one that we've already created. So we're going to click on edit. And this is a sales enquiry form which is going to create a new lead within our system. So you can see here this is our form that we've got. The form fields are actually pulled from the available fields within the lead element on Bitrix. So you can see here that if we wanted to add maybe an address in there, if we click on that, then it will add, you can see it will add the form field to the form on the right hand side. And if we want to remove it, it's as simple as clicking on the cross. Now if you've got custom fields within leads, you can pull these in here, so you can really create some dynamic forms and you can submit quite a lot of different content on there. And when that form is submitted, we can specify the person responsible for this form data. So in this case it will be Damien that will be responsible for the form. There's quite a lot of other features that we can use. As you can see here, we've got the main thing here is that we're going to create a new lead. And then as we scroll down, we can style our form if we like to. So there's some standard templates here. But we can also add our own custom style sheet, so we can actually style it up to blend in with your website or your extranet. And as we scroll down here, this is probably one of the main things that we need on the form. We need to actually embed it onto a page. So this is the script that you would need to copy and paste onto a page. So you can either have it as a form that sits within a page, which is going to show you in a moment, or you can either have a button that you click and it would actually pop up. So if we just, if I just go back to this.
Okay. So bear with me. There we go. Okay, we've got a form here on, this is actually on our extranet site. You can place these forms, I think, on a public facing site, or an intranet site like this.
Yeah, so like David mentioned, this is on our extranet side. It's really quite good to invite your clients into the extranet and maybe have multiple forms for them to fill out to create new leads for different for different kinds of things, because you can actually create different sources in the actual form code itself. So if we go back to the form, that will have created a lead. Now it's been submitted into our...
Okay, we'll have a look at those leads in a minute. Can we do final one, telephony?
Yeah, so what we're going to look at now is how a lead can be generated using the telephony system. So again, you'd need this set up on your Bitrix system, and if we go to other settings, what we need to do is we need to make sure the number's configured first of all. But the main part of interest is here is the CRM integration. So when a call is coming in, then we can actually click on activities and it will actually create a new lead. So I think what we're going to do now is going to demonstrate a new call coming into the system.
Hello, thank you for your call. If you know the extension of the party you wish to call, please dial it now.
So as you can see, you can see here we have an incoming call, and all we need to do is click on answer. And then all you have to do is wait for that to establish. You can see here the connection's established, and once we click on activities, then you can see here that it will have now created a new lead, and it will put the telephone number within the new lead. And then all you would need to do is you would have had a conversation with that person on the phone, and you would manually enter in their first name and their last name onto the system.
Okay, so I think we've got one left, webhook.
Yep, certainly. So what we need to do now is we need to have a look at webhooks. So if we go to applications again here, so webhooks are a pretty cool feature on Bitrix. We can basically call the API on here. If you click on webhooks, and what we want to do is we want an inbound webhook on here. So you would click on add webhook and then an inbound. I'm just going to show you one that we've already created on here. So if we click on new lead from contact form, and then to set it up, all you would need to do is you would need to give the webhook your name on here, and then you just need to select the CRM function and click save. Once you've clicked save, you will now get a unique ID here, and then you will have a REST call URL here. So what you can do with this is you can put this into a script. There is quite a good example on the Bitrix blog of this. So if I just jump to the Bitrix blog here, this webinar is being recorded, and we will send out an email with the links to the useful information on here. But if you go to the blog and then to Webhook Street Magic, and then if you scroll down, there is an example here where it has a script, and you can put in your own URL and you can determine what you would do with that. In this case, it's going to be adding a lead.
Okay, so that's a good example. That code works if you want to copy and use that code. If you want to do anything different and need any help, then partners can help you with this type of integration. Get in touch with ourselves or another local partner. Okay, let's just to finish this section off, let's complete this form.
Yeah, so this is the form that we've set up using the webhook, and then as you can see, it's on a front-facing website here. So you would have this on your site. You click on send, and once that's submitted,
Okay, we'll go back into our leads. And we should see, go into leads, we should see 4 leads that we've just created. Should tell us where they've all come from. So this is the one we've just created from the website. This was the incoming call. This is the CRM form and the Facebook lead as well that we did at the beginning.
Yeah, and the good thing about showing you the way from like the sources, so you can see under each actual lead name, you can see Facebook CRM form. Bitrix has a really useful filtering system at the top here, so we can actually filter out all the leads that have come from calls, for example, all the ones that come from Facebook. So you can actually generate quite a few good different pipelines from that.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see if we've got any questions on that section of capturing leads. Can you specify the quantity for a product in a web form? Yeah, I mean, you can actually, you can put products, you actually integrate Bitrix products with a web form using the CRM forms, and you can use it as a facility for a user to go ahead and order a product, and they could specify a quantity on that. You can have prices and things to that. Can I have different actions for each trigger under a lead status? Yeah, we're going to show you that next. You can have a series of actions. Yes, we'll show you how that works.
Just got a comment about not showing you how to create the webhooks. It's quite complex to create some of the scripts on the webhooks. So like I say, probably the blog post is going to be your first port of call on how to do that. This is just going to be an overview of how the lead automation is going to work from getting a lead into the system, and then we're going to work through that particular lead in a moment.
Okay, how do I get to sales automation? I think if you will send out a recording afterwards. If you follow what we've done, then you should be able to find there's different areas to go to depending on exactly what you want to do. Can you explain the difference between web forms and web hooks? So that's a good question. We showed you two different forms. One was a standard tool built within Bitrix CRM called CRM Forms, which allows you to build your own forms using a tool. And we also showed you how you could build or you could integrate with an existing form on a website and generate a lead. So it might be that actually you don't want to use the Bitrix form builder tool, and in that case you would use webhooks. Webhooks obviously have open up a lot of other areas that you can go into in terms of integration with other systems. In this example we showed you a form, quite a simple example, but there's lots of other things you can do.
Yeah, I think one of the good things with webhooks is that you can actually integrate, especially on the self-hosted version, you can actually integrate into a lot of third-party applications. So that's where we can get quite a lot into it.
Can I sync my mobile to the CRM? Yeah, absolutely. Bitrix24 app is available free of charge, and this allows, any information inputted into the CRM from anyone on a mobile or on a browser will be synced to your particular application.
Does webhooks work with WordPress Contact Form 7? Well, the actual demo that we just gave you is actually on our WordPress site. It's not integrated with the Contact Form 7. I am aware of that plugin, have used it. We've actually created the form on a PHP template within WordPress.
Okay, got a question about importing leads. So we do our webinar on importing leads. We'll give you some information at the end. Can a pop-up message lead capture be created when somebody logs onto your website? Yeah, absolutely, you could do that. So we can create a CRM form that pops up. I think we can add a time delay on that, which we can add a time delay on that. So that could pop up, 20 seconds into somebody loading your web page. Yeah. Okay, so we've looked at tools available. We've looked at how to on the methods you can use to capture leads. Now let's see a process in action. We're going to follow on from the lead created from the webhook form.
Yeah, so in this demonstration here, so we've got a lead from our front-facing public website. It's come in and it's submitted. They've selected a package on our website for the value of $225, and you can see here that all the form information is displayed in this blue section at the top here.
So we captured the email address, we captured the telephone number, value source, we've got a status we can see at the lead's at, and if we click into the automation tab, if you're already a user of Bitrix24, you'll know that this is a new tab. We'll be live on your site now. And inside here we get a visualization of where we're up to with this particular lead. You can see the statuses across the top. These, as Andy said to you, are configurable. You create your own descriptions for these statuses. We've got 5 here. You can have many more than this if your lead process is more complicated. Okay, so let's just talk through these different stages. So when we're at new here, an activity stream message is posted so that everybody or the right people in your organization can see we've got a lead, and it actually automatically changes the status of the lead to the next stage. So when we get to the next stage, which we call valuing opportunity, this is sending a message out. So it's actually an email which is sending out. We can put obviously the description into the email. Thank you for your inquiry. Our discount offer is available until Friday. Please reply if you would like to find out more information. And we can bring in any of the fields available from the lead. So things like first name might be something you want to use to introduce or to say hello to this new prospect. If we save that again. Okay, so we've sent a message out, we've asked them for a reply, asked them to reply if they want to continue. We've then got a change status here. Now you can see that this one is actually going to activate in 7 days. So what we're doing here is we're leaving this particular lead on hold for 7 days. If nothing happens with it in that period of time, it's going to update to on hold, and we're going to send out a notification to the appropriate people, and we're going to schedule a call in for a salesperson. You'll see in this particular process, apart from this call to a salesperson, should there be no activity on the lead, it's a fully automated process that doesn't have or need any interaction from a salesperson. When we go into the deal, you'll see that a salesperson gets involved a little bit more because it needs a bit more care and attention. Hopefully we can manage these leads right the way through to the end, to either junking them or converting them to a deal without any interaction. So basically we're waiting for 7 days. What we're waiting for over here is an incoming email, and should we receive that incoming email within the next 7 days, we're gonna trigger these rules down here. First thing we'll do is assign this to someone in our deals team. We're going to create the actual deal using this action down here, and we're going to send out a notification to the appropriate people. Okay, perfect timing. We have a notification coming up here. Let's just refresh this page as well. And go back into the automation tab. So we can see we've received an incoming email, and it has actioned these 3 items under here. As I just said, it's going to change the responsible person. It's actually going to create a deal for us as well, and it's going to send out a notification to the appropriate people. Okay, so we managed to process a lead without any interaction from a sales team. And we can see up here that the lead's been converted. Let's go into deals. It's going to be a little bit different in deals. We're going to invite salespeople to oversee the process, have a little bit of interaction. You can see this is the deal that's been created.
So yeah, you might have, I mean, in our example here, that we've gone on the basis that we have some staff that solely deal with the leads, so they can interact with the customer on the leads. And then the last stage of that process was to change the responsible person, so then the new responsible person of this deal is going to be in a completely different department and actually going to work through manually through this deal process.
Yeah. Let's just go through again. So again, in this deal, we've got 5 different stages. As Andy showed you, these can be configured, described. You can create your own descriptions for these stages, and indeed you might have more stages to your deal process. Starting at the beginning here, similar to last time, we created an activity stream message to inform the right people or department that a new deal has been created, and we've updated the stage in this action block here. So we're at this stage price quote. We've scheduled in a call, and we just look underneath now. We've actually got a control underneath here, so we're going to wait 3 days. If nothing happens to this particular deal in 3 days, if the stage doesn't move on within 3 days, we're going to notify a supervisor. And as we've mentioned, this is going to keep deals moving forward.
Yeah, so that control basically just makes the person dealing with the deal they're aware that they've got to make that call within the 3-day period. Otherwise, their supervisor is going to get a notification that they're not progressing this deal through the pipeline as quick as they should have done.
Okay, so back into the activity stream, we can see that actually a call's been booked in for this particular deal, and I'm in charge of this call, so I can pop it up and make the call to this particular customer. Let's mark that as finished and close it. The activity will disappear. If we go back into the automation page, I'm going to update the stage of this deal from price quote to promised. It's been a good conversation. We're expecting it to move forward. And again, if we just refresh the page. So we've made a judgment on the value of this opportunity, decided that it's a good opportunity, decided that we've got a good chance of winning this business. We've updated it to this stage. Now we've called promised, and that was a manual action, but that's triggered some automatic rules here. So firstly, we've sent a follow-up email message. So very simply, without a lot of effort, we managed to send a follow-up email message to the telephone conversation.
And we've got a webhook here. So I didn't really mention what the trigger that we have additional in leads. So we've got a webhook here that creates an invoice within Bitrix. So we have an additional trigger in the deals automation process. So you can see here at the top we have a trigger of invoice payment. So the system here, basically on promised, is creating an invoice in Bitrix, and we have in 3 days. We have a 3-day window where that invoice should be paid. Otherwise, the supervisor will get a notification.
Okay. So we're basically waiting for payment on this invoice within 3 days. If we don't get a payment in 3 days, and we're going to send out a notification to a supervisor. Let's just click into the invoice tab, and we can see the invoice that was created. It's to the right company, it's for the right value, and we've received a payment. So we're going to complete that invoice. Back into here, refresh the page. And we can see now that when the invoice was paid, firstly at the top, our status has been updated to closed won. We can see down here that the invoice payment trigger has been completed. We're now going to run some of these rules which sit below the closed won section, and we're actually using the full business process tool here. There's a few additional action blocks available within the main business process tool. Andy will show you what's happening under this section?
Yeah, so as Damien mentioned, we are using the business process workflow designer here, just because on the automation rules list that Damien showed you earlier, you have got around about 10 or 12 different actions that you can use there. But in terms of the business process designer itself, there are quite a lot of different action blocks you can use. So we can pull some more into here if we wanted to. Now in this case, we have, when the invoice has been paid, an email gets sent out here to the customer thanking them for the payment. And then we also have, because we're on the self-hosted here, we also have the option to add a PHP block. So what we can do there is basically integrate as well with our hosting, our accounts package, sorry, and then we can create an invoice within there itself.
Okay, so this is the main reason for using the business process tool rather than the standard automation built in. We've got some custom PHP which is doing an integration job for us. Only available, I think, on the self-hosted to do that kind of level of integration with an external source like Xero. Although on the cloud we have built-in apps that integrate with other accounts packages, QuickBooks, I think, possibly other ones. But if the standard integration is not available, it can be done if you have a self-hosted product. Okay. So we'll look, see if we've got any questions on that process. Okay, what's the app called? Bitrix24.
Can you capture from multiple websites? Yeah, you certainly can. You can even include in the area where I showed you about statuses and drop downs. There is actually an option in there called sources, where you can add multiple sources. So if you wanted to add your different websites on there, you can tag each individual form to that particular source, so you actually know where it's coming from, and then you can use the cool filter tools to explain that a little bit more.
Okay, can you integrate forms with multiple websites? Yeah, you just essentially create a separate, if you're using CRM forms, you create a separate form for each website. Allows you to then do some reporting on where leads are coming from.
I've got automatic. Can you trigger text messages? You could actually trigger a text message, and we have worked with clients before where you trigger text messaging. You would have to use, instead of using the actual set action blocks, you would just use the workflow designer to maybe integrate with a text messaging system.
Okay, can we integrate the invoice module with our payment system? So I think we probably touched on that, in that if your payment system has an app within the Bitrix marketplace available, then that's simple. If not, then you can potentially you can build you can do it through a webhook, or you can do it through some the business process tool if you have the self-hosted.
Can you use web forms to update the CRM? When you're creating the actual web form itself, the CRM form, you have an option whether you want to merge, update, or create new. So I think you would just merge if that was the case. So it would update if the contact already exists, then you could actually update that particular contact to do that.
Okay, can you brand invoices from multiple umbrella companies within one organization? So this is possible. I mean, it's possible to create, I think you might need it self-hosted, but it's possible to create multiple PDFs for things like leads, deals, invoices, quotes. Sorry, not leads and deals, but invoices and quotes. When you generate an invoice and a quote, it's possible to create different PDFs. So you could have one for each individual organization. You might have them for different branding, or you might have them with different currencies, etc. Yeah, so it certainly is possible. How to create a deal from an existing task. Deal from a task. I'm not sure a deal from a task is a standard process that's available. I think you could run a business process. You could create a business process that generates a task and brings in information from generates a deal and brings in information from a task. You might need self-hosted to do that. Sure.
Any help available on the blog to build an API with other external payment platforms? There's not a lot of, I mean, there are tutorials and there is a lot of information on the API on Bitrix. So if we can provide you with a link at the end of the webinar to that, I think you just go to Bitrix24, helpdesktopbitrix24.com, and then you'll just have to search out for the API details. Like I say, it is a lot more flexible with the self-hosted rather than the cloud. When you are using the API with the cloud, I think you are restricted to just lead generation and deal generation, whereas the self-hosted, you've got the full API, so you can create a lot of different integrations on there.
Okay, time control. Please explain it. So what we're doing there is pausing the process for a period of time. You can define that hours, minutes, hours, and days, I think, and then it will perform an action after that particular period of time. So normally it's, as we did in our example, sending out a notification to a supervisor, so your head of department, to say that this lead or deal hasn't progressed in the last 3 days, but can be used for other purposes. Can an email or text be sent out after a call is finished? So you can certainly, we can integrate with SMS provider. So SMS is not built into Bitrix, but we can integrate with an SMS provider.
Can you associate an incident or corrective task to an existing one deal? On the tasks themselves, you can attach to a CRM element. So yes, it would be possible to do that. You can attach a task to a CRM contact, lead, deal, or company. So yes, that you could do that.
Okay, is it possible to create an invoice from a lead? Yeah, absolutely. You can convert a lead into a deal and then convert it into an invoice. So it's 2 stages, but you could automatically convert any new deal into an invoice, and so essentially you convert a lead to a.
Yeah, I think if you added a condition on where it says when the lead is converted, then you could actually use an action block to create an invoice on there.
Okay, what type of integration is available with MailChimp? We have built-in integration with MailChimp. Okay.
So we'll take some more of your questions shortly. We're just going to go to the last part of the webinar, as we're aware that time is ticking on.
So we've looked at the different tools available. We've looked at how to capture leads from different sources, and then how to run automated processes on the lead and a semi-automated process on the deals. Let's just move on to very quickly to a final section where we show you how you can actually then, once you've won that new deal, how you can actually collaborate, if need be, with the client inside the platform.
Yeah, I think this really explains the whole flow from receiving the lead from your website. You're working on the progress through the lead, through the deal, and now we want to actually invite the customer into our Bitrix system and really get them involved with collaborating in Bitrix.
So this is the company we're going to work with, and if we go into the contacts associated with this company, we've got a number of contacts, but this is the one that is going to be our particular contact for this project. And we've got a process built in here which will convert this contact to an extranet user. So it will convert this person from a entity within the CRM to an actual user within the system. It will generate for them a username and a password, and send that along with the URL of the site by email to this newly generated extranet user so that they can log into the system. Second thing we would do is create the project. If we go into our activity stream, and into our processes tab. We've got a project, we've got a process for new project.
Yeah, I think it's quite important to note that this is a custom process that we've built. I mean, it's pretty straightforward and simple. The difference with this is going to be creating an actual work group from the form that Damien's filling out, and this work group is going to be an extranet work group. So we can actually create the work group, and then what Damien's going to do in a moment is invite the client into the work group.
Okay, so it's quite a simple form. You can design this form yourself with the information you need in order to set the project up. We've got a manager and we've got a designer for this project. We've got a deadline and some descriptions. You can add files. You could add more date fields. You can associate more users. Let's submit that form. We submit the form. It triggers a business process within the system. First thing that it's going to ask me to do is, when the page loads, is to actually approve this project. So we can see that in this instance I created the project, I assigned it to myself, and in this example I'm going to accept it. So we get a pop-up window here. We've got some options to accept, refuse, or I can even delegate this to somebody else. Let's accept this project. See, I get a notification at the top here. And if we go into work groups, then we can see this is the group I've created. We won't go through the whole work group, but inside the work group essentially I can see who the owner of this project is, and I can see the other people that I've invited in. At the top, going across the top, we've got a drive, we've got tasks, calendar, discussion boards, etc., etc. The only thing remaining for me to do is actually invite my client, the new user that I created, into this group. This is the user, and if I click submit, this newly created user will receive a notification that they're now a member of this new project group.
Yeah, and then we can all collaborate together within the work group on the project.
Okay, let's just see if we've got any questions to finish off with. Is it possible to integrate Bitrix with a web shop so that we receive all informations, product of the order? Yeah, absolutely. I'd have to check which standard integrations we have available with web shops. If you go to the Bitrix24 marketplace, you can check what's available. If it's not available, contact a partner and they can develop that for you. Okay, so in summary, we looked at the different ways of capturing leads. There were four main ways of capturing leads from external sources. We looked at how we could automate the process of receiving a lead, following it through different stages, and converting that lead into a deal. And that stage didn't involve any interaction from a sales team or salesperson. We then looked at a deal automation, which had a little bit more interaction from the sales side, and then finally how you can convert that user, that CRM contact, into an actual user in the system. How you can create a project group, a work group for that particular project, very quickly using two different business processes. How you can invite that new user into the work group to work with them on that project. That's it. Coming soon, we have a webinar usually on a Monday at midday New York time, and we look at CRM, overview of the CRM. We look at project management, look at the tools available in Bitrix for managing human resources. We have a webinar focuses just on business processes, and we also focus also on the advantages of the self-hosted product. There's a number of additional advantages to using the more advanced self-hosted solutions. So there's our contact details. If you've got any questions, if we don't answer your question today, get in touch by phone or email, and we'll answer your questions. If you want to register for other webinars, go to intraface.com/webinar, and you can see upcoming webinars and you can register there.
Yeah, we've had a few questions, well, a few points raised. Is the webinar recorded? Yeah, it certainly is. You will send out a recording to all the attendees a little bit later today. But if you've got any questions now, we've got 5 minutes left, so we're more than happy to help if you've got any questions at the moment.
How to create multiple closed-won deal statuses? You showed that. Multiple closed-won. Okay, so you can define the different statuses of your deal, and you can actually have more than one, as you point out, as you suggest. They could have more than one closed-won stage. So you could have for different scenarios, you could have a closed one for type A, closed one type 2, type B.
Can we send mail to people who have filled a CRM form on the website? Well, what we would do would probably we would create a lead from that, or we would create a lead, and in that process from the lead we would have the first block as send an email to the email that they provided on the form. So we could have the lead submit all the data into Bitrix, and then the first stage of the Bitrix lead process that we showed you today would be to send an email back out to the customer thanking them for submitting their details.
Webhooks support association of products sold to lead or deal. Yeah, I think you can. I think you could. You could pull in the if there's a lead. We didn't show you a product on a lead, I don't think, but if you attached a lead, if you attached a product to a lead, then you could pull that information out using a webhook.
Yeah, basically on the example that we showed you, we clicked a graphics package and we submitted that inquiry into Bitrix. If you've got a graphics package as a product on your site, you just need to know the ID. You need to know the quantity that they're interested in and the price, and then yes, you could attach that product to that particular lead when it comes in.
Okay, I think. Okay, can we use CRM form for ticket help desk? CRM form for ticket help desk. So you could use a form. Well, I mean, if you're using a self-hosted, then there's a help desk built in, and you're able to use a form as part of that to generate a ticket. If you don't have the self-hosted and you're using the cloud, and you want to use a CRM form to create a ticket, yeah, you could do that. So I think you're not using the help desk because it's not available, but you could certainly a form could generate a lead, which you can generate a task, something like that. If you want to do that, if you want to use tasks for tickets, then that would work.
Yeah, this recorded session again will be on. We'll put it on our YouTube channel, and we'll also send it out to all attendees after the call.